Well, let's speak to Francisco Dominguez, who's head of Latin American Studies at Middlesex University in London. Thank you very much for coming on the programme. Is this quite an escalation of the protest then? A police officer, admittedly only one, but a police officer apparently carrying out an attack on the Supreme Court?
I think it's a terrorist attack. I think it possibly shows the desperation that some people are because of the elections that are coming up in the Constituent Assembly on the 30th of July. This is part and parcel of the wave of violence that's been unleashed because of these elections. And it's extraordinary that an helicopter has been hijacked and they attacked the Ministry of Interior, where a ceremony to award prizes for journalism was being held, where 80 people were there and 15 times the helicopter fired on them. And then the Supreme Court that was in full session, 32 magistrates were there. Actually, the people in the helicopter threw 4 grenades. Thankfully, nobody was hurt, but it's extraordinary. I think it was designed to cause the maximum amount of casualties, ideally as many dead bodies as possible, and this unfortunately has not worked.
In that case, could it actually harm the opposition movement against Maduro that he can paint this, or as you say, it is apparently a terrorist attack, he can use this as an excuse to crack down further?
This is not an apparently terrorist attack, this is a terrorist attack. There is no question about it. Under no dictionary or any other definition anywhere in the world, this can be identified anything but a terrorist attack. I think we'll see. President Maduro is relying very heavily on mass participation in the Constituent Assembly, which is an election which the opposition refuses to participate in. This is extraordinary given the fact that the opposition, and the media keeps repeating this, is supposed to enjoy 80% of support among the electorate. Why then do they refuse to participate in the election? Even worse, they have organized this wave of protest and violence from April, demanding that there are regional elections in the nation. There will be regional elections in December that have been announced by the National Electoral Council, and they say they're not interested in those elections anymore. So the only conclusion that one can draw is actually these people are interested only in regime change.
Is there any cause for optimism at all, do you think, in Venezuela at the moment? It does seem to be spiralling out of control.
Well, the protest, the violence is confined to few municipalities in the country, 3 or 2 in the capital city, mainly in the east of Caracas, will be the equivalent of Knightsbridge and Chelsea in London. This is where most of the protest takes place, literally 90–95%. And occasionally one in Táchira in the east, in the border with Colombia, recently in Maracay, one city where it was only concentrated. Otherwise, the rest of the nation is pretty calm. Venezuela has 335 municipalities. I think the only solution is dialogue and negotiations and elections. These elections to the Constituent Assembly is supposed to actually help the people to actually negotiate and discuss with themselves and to come up with proposals to address the problems of the nation. It's the only way forward. There is no other. I don't think the opposition has the capacity to overthrow the government. Otherwise, they would have done it 18 years ago, which they have tried many times and failed on every single occasion.
Francisco Dominguez, thank you very much for joining us.